Thank you for the invitation from Palladio Museum. I would like to share why and how I translated Palladio's The Four Books on Architecture. Between 2009 and 2015, I completed and published the Chinese translation of Palladio's The Four Books of Architecture, which is the first Chinese complete translation of this work. In fact, this work is part of the library of Western Classical Architecture Theory, published by China Architecture and Building Press. And this theory, you can see. It also served as an important window for the Chinese people to understand the history and intellectual development of Western architecture theory and history. At the beginning of this century, one of my professors, Wang Guixiang, led a team, including myself, translating a history of architecture theory by Hanno Walter Kruft. And this effort took several years, and following that, he conceived the idea of introducing classical Western architecture theoretical works to China. Based on art history courses at the University of Pennsylvania, he proposed a list of 13 classic Western architecture theory works, spanning the Italian Renaissance, the French Enlightenment, and 20th century modernism. Palladio's The Four Books on Architecture was among them. But finding Chinese translators for these books was challenging because most Chinese scholars were only trained in English, while the original texts were written in various European languages. Verifying the precise meaning of these texts required considerable time. At that time, I had just completed my PhD and was working as a research assistant for Professor Wang Guixiang. By then, I already been engaged for years in research on the Chinese architecture classic 营造法式, which is mean treatise on architectural standards. I had also led the translating of Norberg Schur's Meanings in Western Architecture and participated in the initial translated of a history of architectural theory. Through my research on 营造法式, I had developed a lasting interest in how ancient people established architectural standard. How did they define architectural concepts, and how did they integrated drawings and texts to provide effective guidance for actual construction or practical architectural things, and balanced perfect eternal forms with economical and rational structures. While compiling the book list and reviewing the original text for translation, I discovered that Palladio's The Four Books on Architecture also attempts to address the similar questions. Additionally, my vivid memories of the beautiful buildings designed by Palladio, which I had seen in Vicenza several years earlier, motivated me to take on the role of a translator for this book. Once I began the translation, I encountered many difficulties, with two standing out as the most significant. The first is how to understand Palladio's original intent or the thematic system. And the second, how to present the original appearance of Palladio's work in the Chinese version, particularly in terms of visual design. For the first challenge, I found considerable help in the 1997 Modern English translation by Robert Taverner and Richard Schofield. And this translation not only provided a relatively faithful word for word rendering of Palladio's original text into English, but also offered intensive annotations and terminology research, which greatly enhanced my understanding of the books of terms. On the other hand, I noticed that the traditional Chinese architectural system shared many comparable approaches with Palladio's methods, allowing us to understand Palladio more directly from the perspective of pre-industrial social and technological system. For the second challenge, while studying the drawings and terminology, I referred to a digitalized version of the 1970 edition of Palladio's The Four Books on Architecture held by the Library of Congress in US, as well as several other editions from the UCLA Library and the Getty Library in Los Angeles. These resources helped me better understand the book's appearance in the 16th century and contemplate how to present most effectively. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Zheng Wenbo from the Department of Foreign Languages at Tsinghua University and Dr. Liu Chen, a Princeton University graduate, for their invaluable assistance with English expressions and Renaissance terminology. Finally, the reason I'm here today is that Palladio's exhibition will be held in Beijing in the few months, where it will meet Chinese audiences. I sincerely hope that Palladio, a bridge from classicism to modernity, will continue to serve as a cultural bridge connecting the East and the West. Thank you.